The Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a statewide, nationally accredited program that provides no-cost, confidential business coaching and training services. Whether you're just getting started or are ready to expand, we have the tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. We're part of a national network, America's SBDC, with over 1,000 centers across the nation. To learn more about how the Kentucky SBDC can serve you, please visit KentuckySBDC.com or email us at info@KentuckySBDC.com. You can also reach us by calling 888-414-7232. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The chat feature is available for you to ask questions and interact with today's speaker. Please take a moment to introduce yourself and where you are watching from today.
Dave, you're muted. Dave, can you hear me? You're muted.
Oh, welcome everybody. Sorry about that, Ryan. Thanks. We've been having some technical difficulties today, so I apologize to everybody for that. So we're trying some new things. But welcome for coming today. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director here in the Louisville Center. And as you come in, just kind of to get settled, just go ahead and say hello and call where you're coming from. See a bunch of people in the room already. So yeah, from all over the place there. So we have quite a few folks today. Today, I'd like to introduce a great guest. Neemo Tawasha is the Chief Operating Officer of Traffic Media. And I really wanted to get Neemo to share with everyone because I've watched him help a couple businesses get launched in the middle of a pandemic. And then with his marketing skills, they really knocked it out of the park and made a big impact when all the deck was just kind of stacked against them. And so it was really impressive, and I think that you guys out there will really get a lot out of knowing Neemo and hearing what he has to say. So, Neemo, welcome. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that introduction.
Well, let's just get started. And again, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat, and we'll get to them towards the end of the session today. So, Neemo.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Again, today my goal in this presentation is to define a baseline for content marketing and winning on the internet, and how you do that by utilizing the resources that every small business owner has at their disposal, by taking the time to define a strategy, to maximizing your digital presence in a way that doesn't require a lot of effort and energy other than specified times to get things set up. So in today's presentation, if there are questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'd love to answer them afterwards. And let's just dive in. When you look at the marketing space digitally currently, content is at the center of it. At the end of the day, our goal is what content can we produce and how do we show that content to the right person to create new buyers in our business. As you see from this slide, you have SEO, which encompasses your company's website, your presence on Google, the type of written content, video content that you create and post to social channels, to distribute through targeted marketing. All of that starts with the content you create, and you can't create enough of it in today's environment. Content marketing is the name of the game. It's just not what people are calling it. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of definitions in this space for how you can interact with your audience. But what you're interacting with to an unknown audience, whether it's through social, whether it's through your website, whether it's on LinkedIn when you're doing cold emails, is the content that you give to that person to digest, right? We're built in a society that's revolved around how do I engage an audience? And it starts with free programming on cable television. And then it goes all the way through people paying for streaming platforms to purchase the type of content they want to see. So how you compete in that space is defined by the content you create and where you put that content to be absorbed by your audience. Content Marketing 101 supports 4 pillars, and those build the foundation of what content marketing is. As you saw from the previous slide, content is at the center, then your social media, the SEO, which encompasses your digital presence, and then targeted marketing and how you can specify who you show the content that you create to. When we look at content, one, it starts with quality. Now, what I mean by quality of content is it can go through multiple layers, right? There's social media that you can take a picture of something happening in your business and posting it day of. There's visible content from a video production style that you can hire a company to come in and shoot video commercials for you and have them play on air on television. There's graphics that you can have made. There's multiple ways to create content. But when you look at it on this slide, I've broken down kind of what are the basics that you can start in your business to build your digital presence, both through social media and through your website and through other digital asset channels. When you look at basic production and what you're putting on the internet, you want to focus on 3 different time slots, and you want to stay strict to those type of timelines, because the attention span of your audience only lasts for this much time. When you're building an ad and it's a video ad or something like that, you want to focus on 15 seconds for that video ad, right? You want to make sure that you're able to tell your message quickly. An elevator pitch for some small business owners as you were building your business is what that 15-second video needs to be. Now, let's say you're in the restaurant industry and you own a restaurant. That 15-second video could be of the dish that you have featured that day. But at the end of the day, you have to create that content, and it's basic production with a cell phone. For us, what we found as the most successful is doing that as often as possible with limited spend to promote it. Because when you utilize social channels or your website, getting people there is the hardest part. What's there, you want as much of it as possible, because that's how you're going to keep people engaged with your product on the internet. For brand awareness content, there's zero production necessary. These can just be photos that you take from a cell phone. You can also have more production included with that, with having photographers come in or videographers come in. But what I would recommend to any small business owner is starting with your team. You know, I'm sure we've all felt the pressure of hiring in recent months. Hopefully that'll end soon. But until then, part of what makes people want to work for your business is going to start with how they're treated and how they're revered by the business owner themselves. And the attendees on this type of call tend to be the small business owner that's looking to keep and retain their staff, because we all know the expense of hiring and turnover. So one, using these platforms as a way to showcase who works for you and give them recognition. In-application workshops is something that can easily be done in any type of business. Somebody does something great, or somebody's working on a project, you take a picture of them doing that and post it on the internet, put it on your website. Those are the things that your consumers or your customers are going to want to see, that your business has virility, that's able to maximize and stand the time or stand the test of time. One thing that I've realized, at least in several months as traveling's begun to open, you see some small businesses that haven't maintained a digital presence very well. Well, the challenge with that is that's going to add illegitimacy to your business. The only way you can remain legitimate in consumers' eyes currently on the internet is by having constant content being produced and put on your channels. And that's why this is an important part of that. Where this content's shown goes anywhere from your website to your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube channel if you have one. TikTok is an emerging market for a lot of different businesses because of what audience is using that platform. And we're going to talk about those in just a moment. But what I really want to set as a baseline for anyone on this call that's looking for direction on how to create really good content, I would ask you that you just start. You just start taking pictures of what's happening at work. You start shooting small videos, and you stay to the guidelines that are on this slide, because one, you're setting a baseline. There's ways to excel beyond that. But as you set that baseline, you've got to just have your standards. And I feel this is a very good slide to set the standard for your business if you currently don't have one. If you do, it's a great way to audit your business. And as we continue through these slides, you're going to see kind of a theme. And the way that I've built this deck is in an effort to provide, one, if you're doing this yourself as a small business owner, which I understand because as a small business owner myself, it's something that I've had to do myself internally. So I understand the struggle that is. So it's good to have kind of a checklist on, am I doing this the right way? And am I getting through the basics of it? If you have an agency and if they're not performing the basics of this stuff, it's a great way to hold them accountable. And that's what my goal is with this deck and this presentation. So if there are questions pertaining to that, please feel free to ask. Let's move forward beyond content, because creating the content, like I said, is the center of this digital ecosystem, but it's the baseline. You have to have it. Once you have it, what do you do with it? And let's move in to social media. Social media has such a weird cachet now. There's so many things that fall under that term. But let's start with what is required for your business to be relevant on the internet. And then we'll get into how you win. for your specific channel. But if your company doesn't have a Facebook or an Instagram to start that has updated content on it, you're losing on the internet, especially with the millennial market. When you look through recent performance studies, the average consumer under the age of 35 will check Facebook or Instagram before they do a Google search. And what that tells us in our market and in our space for content marketing is that you have to have updated content there for them to engage with. If they're going to be searching for that content through those channels first in that target demo that you're focused on, you've got to be relevant there. And by being relevant, that just means up-to-date content. Okay. If you're in the B2B space, a LinkedIn is part of your business, I'm sure now. What you do in that space is, again, about continued push of the message. Because at the end of the day, when you look at how social media builds its algorithms and how it processes data for users to see, it's all based on the availability of your content. They're only going to show the stuff that pertains to that user. So if you're not putting different types of content out there, whether it's videos, different types of videos, different types of pictures, you can't just post graphics on your social media and see a result. Because again, that's one type of content that you're producing to put on these channels. You have to have all of them to reach all types of customers. And for a lot of small business owners, you want to target a wide variety of customers. You're not so segmented. And in businesses that are segmented, for example, the B2B space, LinkedIn is a place where you can create that same message and then continue to push that message with multiple types of content so that everyone has an opportunity to see it. If you're in the service industry, utilizing tools like Yelp and OpenTable and making sure that it's up to date with current content and that everything there is appropriate and legitimate to your business. Again, for that under 35 demo, this is the way that you're going to make the biggest impact for your business. The 35 plus demo, utilizing those additional resources as well, has started a shift in our space. And as people continue to become more familiar with utilizing the internet as the resource that it is, it's only going to get stronger. So if you're not currently setting this baseline, then it's time to start today. And our team and myself personally can be a resource for you to help with any guidance there. Because at the end of the day, everyone needs kind of an advisor in this space if you don't know what you're doing. And that's what we've built our business on, is being that advisor. But more importantly, utilizing this deck to set your baseline and audit yourself as a small business. And if you don't do that every quarter or every 6 months, then you're not doing yourself a service for your small business. Again, if you have customers and you're in business, you got to make sure that they're able to see the content that you're producing, and you got to make sure that you're creating that content aggressively and constantly. The millennial mindset: look up their tagged photos on Instagram before you make a reservation, purchase that item, return that email. The reason I put that in there is because how you're found on the internet has changed over the last 5 years. Utilizing people who are engaging with your business and only tagging your business on social media channels is something that has gained incredible popularity over the last several months into the last couple of years. Again, that's all part of your content space. If you're not utilizing that for your business's benefit, you're missing the mark. And that's why this baseline is important. Let's move in beyond social media. Let's look at your SEO. And what we're going to start with in the SEO space, and I called SEO the conversion creator, because where people end up buying from you isn't going to be on your social channels. Social media makes up for less than 10% of online sales. A majority of online sales is fueled by your website, mobile apps, directory listings, and local search. That's how people are going to truly engage with your business. But your reference point and your legitimizer is going to be the social media piece. The next step is them visiting these channels for your business. So what we'll do is we'll start with the website and set some baseline guidelines for what your website should do, how it should perform, and how you're going to get the most bang for your buck for your current website as far as your digital ecosystem goes. 4 steps to simply audit your website. A simple one is starting with a secure website. If your website doesn't have a little lock screen at the top left corner when you're putting it in a desktop browser, it's likely that your website is insecure. The amount of businesses that we audit that this is already wrong on, and it's such an easy fix. But again, it illegitimizes your business in the eyes of the consumer. If your site says it's not secure from a browsing company, the likelihood that customer is going to pass through to see your content is unlikely. The second step is making sure that your site loads quickly. In 2018, UC Berkeley did a human behavior study, and it found that users that have to wait more than 3 seconds for the website to load will automatically attempt to reload the site. Well, what happens in the digital space is that creates another request, which will make it even longer to load that website. At that point, it showed that 75% of users search for a competitor's website. Now, those if somebody's trying to purchase through you, if they want your product that badly, I'm sure they'll sit through and work through that gap to get the product purchased. But or to submit that form or whatever your standard of operation is from a digital perspective. But why give them the chance, right? It's very easy to optimize the website if it's built properly, and you yourself as a small business owner have that opportunity to check that. I'll make sure that the team at the SBDC has a link that we'll share through this deck that will allow you the opportunity to do your own little website audit, and it'll give you this information so that you can check your score. But for us, these are the basics of what needs to be right to, one, just have the opportunity to engage a customer. That's where these start from. So let's move on to step 3 and 4. Number 3, does your content and message match your social? I talked about the social media channels being your legitimizer. Again, that's not the place that makes sales, but if that's your legitimizing engine, the content that's there needs to be matched on your digital presence for whenever people are actually engaging with your business. If you have a menu on your social, it doesn't match the menu on your website, that's going to be a red flag for customers, and it's going to confuse your customer, and it's going to provide them an opportunity to not purchase. Giving them any reason to not buy they're going to take it, and that's where our team ensures that we have that connection for all of our customers. I recommend the same for yourself. The last piece is your website easy to engage for your customers? If you sell something online, it should take less than 5 pages to complete that sale. If you're in the business of gathering leads or recommendations, or you're looking for people to leave reviews, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that on your basic homepage that you have 4 call to action buttons at a minimum. You should have a sales form and a contact form on your homepage for any type of opportunity. No matter what business you're in, if you have no way for a customer to engage with you quickly, if you're not using chat, if you're not using those types of mediums to gather engagement, you're leaving opportunity to the side. One thing we did for a restaurant recently was add chat, and their reservation numbers spiked because the questions that were being asked were just stuff they didn't want to have to do research for. There's FAQs that are on people's websites, but we would get those questions constantly. And one of the unique things about social and Facebook specifically, one of the products they've produced is the Facebook chat plugin for websites. If you're a current business owner, you don't have chat on your website, you can use automated chat, which will allow you to pre-fill in questions with answers, and it'll make your customers' engaging experience much stronger, which will result to more sales and more conversions for your business. And that's why we call SEO the conversion creator, because at the end of the day, when a customer's on your website, your only chance is to lose them. You've got to do everything it takes to gain them. Getting them there is the easy part. The hardest part is getting the sale. And adding these resources will continue to help with that. Let's move into the next slide here. We'll look at SEO for the other 3 resources. We talked about the 4 pillars. Mobile apps are part of this. For many small businesses, this is not something that is required or needed. But as businesses scale, a simple web app or an app on the App Store for Apple or for Google Play is something that will keep users engaged. And that's really the benefit of that space. If you don't currently have one for your business and that's something that you're interested in, the recommendation there would be to make sure that you build it with a firm and not try to hire some random company that says they have a pre-built-in template. Mobile apps are very specific and they require a lot of attention, but the value is that it's always on a customer's phone. Unlike a website, the one major benefit to a mobile app is the ability to send notifications. And that's why a lot of companies are switching to that model and spending their money and resources on benefiting them in that space, because long-term, the performance of that is only exponentially going to grow. If that stays on that user's phone, you're able to send them push notifications, you'll continue to win with that customer once you've earned them by downloading that application. Directory listings, it's a service that many companies offer. I'd recommend it for all small businesses. Making sure that you're listed on any possible place to be found in search is the only way that you're going to garner new organic business. You can always pay and put your message out there. But if you can't generate business organically, it's very difficult to scale by paying for people to be on your website. And then the last one is local search, utilizing Google, Bing, and DuckDuckGo search to ensure that, one, your SEO and your optimization of your search is strong. As you see on the slide, there's going to be a link for you to do that website audit. That audit allows you to see how you rank currently on local search. It also shows you what issues are there on your website, and it'll give you an opportunity to make those adjustments and gives you details on how to fix them. It's a tool that we've created to assist any type of business, large or small, to at least get a baseline on how your performance is for your website and how you're seen on the internet. And that's SEO. Let's focus on target marketing. Target marketing recently, and depending on who's on the call, the amount of small businesses that I talk to and small business owners that I speak with, the amount that just boost posts randomly, just because they feel like, hey, I took a good picture of what we were doing in our business the other day and I wanted to share it. The amount that to have a small video that they want to sponsor on Facebook. If there's no strategy to how you're presenting your content, it will fail, especially on social media. Over the last 90 days specifically, major Fortune 500 brands have gone away from advertising on those channels because of the inaccuracy of the target market that they're able to advertise to. With new privacy laws, with an ability to not track users as aggressively as you used to. They're all very good things for the consumer. As a small business owner, it makes your job very difficult to make sure that your message is being shown to the right person. When we talk about target marketing specifically, your focus has to be on what content do you want seen by which people. We do audits for every business that come in our door. That's the first step of any engagement process with our business. And the first thing we look for from that presence is the customer that you're targeting the right one? And then we look at how they've spent money and the amount of businesses that spend on open targeting, or they want to target 18 to 65 with one post as the age group, and they're targeting men and women with the same message. If you don't customize that message for the audience you're targeting, the likelihood of it to convert is extremely low. And by extremely low, it will probably result in a loss of income versus an ROI. And that's the biggest downfall of many small businesses that feel like they're doing everything right. It's as simple as just making sure that if you're going to gear towards a specific audience with a specific message, you target them accurately. Part of the website audit will show you from an engagement perspective who's utilizing your digital assets. So it's important that you do that for your business by utilizing anyone's audit. If you choose to use the one that I posted there, it gives you the opportunity to see everything in regards to your website, everything in regards to your local search, but more importantly, who's interacting with you and why. And what's more important, if you're a small business owner, you don't have access to your Google Analytics for your website, that's a step that has to be taken extremely quickly as a small business owner. If you're not able to have transparency into who is utilizing the tools that you put on the internet as a small business owner, how can you effectively target that person? And that's really the basics when it comes to content marketing. As a refresh to this, I want to just make sure that we say it starts with your content. It flows into how it's seen through social as your legitimizing engine. Then it flows into your SEO to make sure that you're found easily on the internet. And when they find you, what does your website look like? Does it match the content that you've put everywhere else? Is it easy to purchase through your website? And to gather new business and new customers, are you targeting effectively? Are you focused on the personas and the audiences that you're looking to message to? And are you catering that message to that audience? We talked about social media earlier, and I mentioned the 35 and under demo. Well, everyone uses Facebook and Instagram. They have 3 billion users in the world. The benefit is that you're able to target the age at least. So for the 65 plus crowd, maybe a flyer is the right one. For the 35 to 55, a photo might be better. 35 and under, video is the only way you're going to capture the attention of that audience. And understanding those pieces is the most effective way to then target them aggressively. Maximizing your ad spend is the other part of this. When we break it down, there's really 2 avenues if you're spending money on the internet to advertise. There's self-managed ad spending, and I talked about that a little bit prior to small business owners that are boosting posts on Facebook or boosting posts on Instagram and trying to put themselves out there to be seen by consumers. For spending less than or more than $500 a month, it would make sense to engage with a digital strategy firm or use a marketing company. At the end of the day, that number may still seem small. But if you're not generating revenue on that $500, you're wasting it. So you might as well at least engage a firm to see the advantage. If you are doing it yourself and you're under that spend, or if you're even under the $500 to $1,000 spend, it's important to make sure, like I mentioned before, that you're curating the content to the audience that you're trying to target, and making sure that you have all types of that content to post and boost. Running multiple types of campaigns is the number one way that you're going to see a benefit or a distraction for your audience. And you'll be able to use that data more aggressively when you take multiple opportunities to push it out there. If you have an agency that manages your business, there's really three questions you should be asking. One, how often are you provided with performance reporting? If you're not given at least a monthly breakdown of your performance, then it's less likely that they're engaged with it. Companies and marketing agencies that don't do that are less likely to be in your best interest. Do you have a point of contact with your current agency? The amount of companies that we work with or audit that don't have a specific POC or someone that they work with directly on the marketing side of their business is astounding. So another point, the answer there should be yes, that you have someone. And then, do you have positive ROAS? So ROAS is the agency term. It's return on ad spend. This answer should be yes. If you're not seeing a positive return on your ad spend, unless you've been spending for less than 90 days, I would cancel the agreement you have with that marketing agency. Because their only job as an agency is to deliver a return on investment. If they don't do that, you shouldn't spend more money with them. That's what I have for today. There's some contact info for myself and my business partner, Jesse Daniels. Our team is excited to help anyone that has a need in this space. But more importantly, we're a resource. We spend our time mainly working with small businesses in a consulting capacity versus actual performance for them. But no matter the need, no matter the size, our team is here to help, and we're designed to be able to take on that type of scale to assist small businesses to help them grow, just like the SBDC does. And I can't thank Dave enough for the opportunity to speak today. So Dave, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Neemo. That was awesome. That was a lot. That was a definite fire hose of information. So everybody out there that's joining us today, this is your opportunity to really to pick Neemo's brain, because he is a wealth of information. So, and thanks for sharing the tools to audit the website. I did want to ask about how do you secure a website too? What's the process there? What would you tell the folks out there?
Well, one, you want to work with your hosting provider to ensure that you have a certificate. It's called an SSL. Make sure that certificate is active with your hosting provider. If you're using an agency and you don't have one, just send me an email. We'll take care of it for you. But if you're doing it yourself, we're also able to assist and give some feedback there. But again, it's done through the hosting provider, and it can be done through chat. Okay.
Easy enough. As you provided all these tools for everybody, it occurred to me that really the first step is kind of a strategy, and you mentioned about doing some of the audits and stuff as that first step. I mean, but how do you develop what's the strategy process for you guys?
For us, with how we work with our customers, or
with your clients.
So that audit link that I mentioned is always our first step as well. And that's the reason I shared it. It's an internal tool that we utilize, that we've created an outward opportunity for customers to have. That it's impossible to know where you're going to go or set goals if you don't know where you are currently. And so many people currently that are small business owners spend the time to, like I said, boost posts and spend money randomly based on what they feel like will work. Well, the problem with that is that you're probably not going to see a positive return on your ad spend. And generally that happens too often. That's whenever people generally engage us and they waste money before they do that. I'd recommend not doing that. We take our time throughout the day generally, and we set calls weeks in advance to do audits for people, and they're for free. So I would take advantage of it. People do it every day. My day is spent on the phone all day with different business owners having those conversations. So I'm happy to do it.
Jeez. Sounds like a rough day. Let's see. Talisha says, when cold emailing, I've noticed that our company emails immediately are
route to spam.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
So in that case, that's going to be an issue with your hosting and where your MX records are built into your website. Talisha, I would recommend if you want to send me an email with your email, I'll check to see if it goes to spam, number one, and we can run a backlink audit on how you send emails. Again, the way that our firm is built is that we understand all types of businesses are different. We work with a lot of different types of companies as well, and the challenges you're going to face are going to be different. So cold emailing specifically, if you're doing it through your personal email and it's going straight to spam, that's a problem that can be fixed pretty simply with a quick email audit.
Good answer. Thank you. You mentioned earlier about directory listings. Could you provide some answers about directory listings and where you would kind of find those?
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the benefits of the internet is that there's so many resources and tools for people to find your business. There's yellowpages.com, all the way to Yelp, all the way to Google search, all the way to Google My Business listings, and everything in between. There's some for lawyers, there's some for just restaurants, there's some for landscapers. You want to be listed on all of them. Our company does that for customers. So let's say you wanted your business listed on every platform that is pertaining to your business. That's a service that we do provide, and it's something that is pretty easily done. It's rather inexpensive, and the opportunity to generate more business through that is exponential because it's there forever. So if someone finds your business organically, that doesn't cost you anything once you've paid to be there, and that's the benefit of directory listings.
Mm-hmm. So Deidre says, do you recommend using an agency for building a new website?
It's a great question. It really depends on how involved you want that build to be. There's amazing tools on the marketplace now to build your website yourself. But if you're a business that's going to sell something on the internet or gather leads to then sell them a service, I'd recommend at least engaging an agency. Most agencies will build a proposal for free. And worst case, you can use that to build it yourself as the guidelines they'll put in their proposal. But I would always engage an agency first. You can always say no, and you never have to say yes.
Michelle wants to know, is Tick-Tock safe to use?
Yeah, Michelle. Personally, I'm aged out of the demo for TikTok. However, if your audience is under 25 and you can create sales there, it's where you'll win. The way that they display content is unmatched to any other social media engine. It's seen more than any other type of posting that's available. So I would recommend it if that's your demo. And yeah, it's definitely safe to use.
I'll be the first to admit I spend a lot of time on TikTok myself. So
I wouldn't have guessed. There you go, Dave.
So Kim says my website is hosted through Square /Weebly, and they have a section for Permalink Seo. Is there a reference sheet? Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing that.
Yeah, if you do the website audit, and can I put that in the comment there, Dave?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Let me grab that link for you just so you guys can have access to it. But running that audit will tell you exactly what needs to be there or what is there. And then if it's not right for your business, well, then it's very easy to make that adjustment. But running the audit's the easiest way to tell you, one, what's being shown by the internet. Because if there's nothing there, for example, Google will automatically fill that information in, right? Their responsibility and the way Google search works is that if you have content on your website, they crawl that content and they'll refer you as a resource for the question that someone searched. If it's not accurate, and if those meta descriptions and the SEO title and descriptions are not accurate to your business, they're not going to refer you for the right information. And that's why I just posted in the chat there. That's an easy audit that anyone can do. And it's extremely simple. It gives you all the information you need, and then you can engage with us after that if like.
Nice. Thanks for that. Guillermo wants to know if you can review his website. I know the answer to that one.
Very simply, Guillermo, click the link that's in the chat there. Put your domain, your first, last name, and email in, and it'll send us actually an audit. If you do those steps, you don't have to put that field in, and you can just do it for yourself. If you want to share your information with us and have us take a look as well, go ahead and do the audit, and we'll get the information and we'll share it back to you. It takes about 24 to 48 hours for us to do that.
Nice. So Neemo, do you guys do influencer marketing? Do you use that as part of your strategy?
We do, yeah. For multiple types of businesses, our firm has an office here in Louisville, Kentucky. We also have an office in Los Angeles, and part of the benefit of having the Midwestern feel and the big city feel is that we're exposed to a lot of different types of influencers and reasons to use them. And one of the things that we've done for one of our customers locally, and Dave kind of mentioned one of the launches we did during COVID, we used a lot of influencers in that process to get people in the restaurant post our grand opening. And it really helped. And, that's specific to that business, but utilizing influencers for products can be as simple as giving them a free product and generally get a good review out of it. if you've got margin and you're able to use that margin to your advantage, I'd recommend it.
So do you have to go through an agency to engage with influencers, or can you do it on your own?
You can do it on your own. A lot of influencers love free product in exchange for promotion. And that's just a little insider tip. But engaging with an agency is simple for that because it's just maybe a connection. And if you don't have an agency now, it's good to have somebody that you can use as a resource and make that connection with, because they're going to have your best interest in mind if they're the right type of agency for you.
Yeah. So Kim wants to know about the best day or time for emails to post emails and videos.
Yeah, Kim, that's a good question. When I talked about content specifically, my recommendation would be to try everything. Your audience is specific to you on social media specifically. So I don't know how your specific audience engages with your content. What I would recommend is making a schedule for the next 2 weeks with different times and days of posts, and then look at the performance. You track that performance, and then you'll find where your sweet spot is. But there's not really a good answer to that that's more blanketed. It's really dependent on who you're interacting with.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point because the testing and the analytics that you can get on your fingertips. I mean, that what makes it why it's so easy to market on the internet.
It makes it simple to do it. It's very difficult to do it right. And really the reason that I built the deck the way that I did, because so many people do it and little people see great return. So my recommendation is to build your own data network. If you're not using some sort of analytics tool, I would sign up for one. Google Analytics was the recommendation because it's free. But that's my recommendation, is to make sure you have all the data, use it to your advantage, and then build from it.
Mm-hmm. Deidre asks, should an agency be able to handle all the marketing needs, or a specialty firm would be better?
Again, that's really dependent on your business type. Deidre, if you wanted to comment on what type of business you're in, I can give you more detail there. But specifically, if you have an agency partner, they should be able to handle all types of the needs or get you the right person to handle what you need specifically. If you're in heavy machinery manufacturing, maybe tough to find the right agency for you. But if you're a restaurant, if you're a hair salon, if you're one of the many small businesses that use the SBDC regularly, there's a great chance that one agency should be able to handle all your needs. But if you want to be more specific with your type of business, Deidre, I'd love to go into more detail at it.
You were talking about that video earlier. There you go. Food specialty baked goods.
Yeah, Deidre, I would say that an agency should be able to help with all of that. And if they can't, give us a call. Mm-hmm.
That would probably dovetail pretty well into influencer as well with specialty foods. Yeah, for sure. You were talking early on about producing videos on a cell phone. What are your favorite tips and tricks on video production on a phone?
What I would say is, and there's gonna be a lot of people in my business that say I'm wrong, but I can't imagine that you're going to turn anyone away by putting out content unless the content is not geared to your business. If it's personal, that's a different story. But if you're a business owner and you're posting about your business and what you offer, if they're following you, if they're engaging with you, they're going to want to see that. So I would recommend all types of different avenues. If you are a small business and you don't have at least one professional set of commercials that are 15, 30, and 60 seconds, I would recommend that to have the production value of having one set of assets. Outside of that, post all day. Take videos, pictures of yourselves. I would keep it limited to maybe 3 or 4 stories on social media channels and one to 2 static posts at the most. But being consistent daily with content is more important than being sporadic.
Mm-hmm. We've had some arguments about this. I mean, do you find it helpful, like when you're posting from a business standpoint, to keep it strictly business, or do you bring in personalities and mix it up?
Depends on you as the business owner, Dave. If you're a funny guy, be funny, but understand that you're going to segment your audience if you venture away from business. And that's the one thing you should never do as a small business owner. You want to be as inviting to all types of customers, because that's the only way you scale as quickly as you can scale. So my recommendation would be to, if you're keeping it about business, utilizing things like Reels on Instagram, using TikTok to make small videos that are funny, that can highlight your product or what you're selling. That's going to resonate with customers. And if it looks silly or unproduced, even better for some people, because the people that don't like it just will move on. And that's the benefit, is you're only trying to capture 1 or 2 or maybe 10 people. for most small businesses. And if you can create 3 or 4 customers a day just by what you're posting on the internet, you're gonna scale a lot faster.
Yeah. Okay. So if you folks out there, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat there. You mentioned LinkedIn quite a bit. Are there some specific, if a company hasn't really launched on LinkedIn, where would they start? What would you think they would start to get started in that?
LinkedIn is great for B2B opportunities. It's a flooded space as well. It's one of the things that I recommend if you're a small business that you have it. One of the things that we utilize it for in our business specifically, and the reason we have a LinkedIn profile for our business is because we want to make sure that our employees have the ability to say they work here and have a logo, and it makes their page look better. And that may be something smaller and insignificant to us as small business owners, but again, you want your employees to be proud of where they work. Having that infrastructure set up is very simple, and it gives them a point of pride, like a little badge on their profile as one of your employees. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay. Peggy, hey Peggy, how do you market if your new website is still under construction?
Peggy, you get that website finished. Number one. I would not recommend spending $1 on marketing if your infrastructure is not in place. If your content's not there, if your digital assets are not ready, don't spend any money because you're only going to waste it. We've had multiple customers, even in the last year through COVID, that have gone through restructurings of their websites and updated the digital presences that were still spending money. I had a customer last week that drove $7,500 in ad spend to an old website. These are mistakes that just can't happen. And if you're spending any kind of money on marketing, you're not engaging an agency, I would just recommend not spending any money until it's all ready. Yeah,
good point. Michelle says, if your website is through a home office, how do you run the analytic?
If your website is through a home office.
Yeah.
So as in you work for a company that has a website for you.
Oh yeah, home office. Yeah.
That's how I would take it. What I would recommend is still running the audit. Whoever's in charge of the website, you could share that with them. Lots of companies, especially if you're a franchisee, have a large infrastructure website with maybe a landing page for yourself. It's going to be difficult for you to edit that stuff. And a lot of companies will build a small website for themselves just so they can get their own data, even if they have a franchisor agreement. So I don't know the specific situation, Michelle. If you want to send me an email with more specifics, I can give you maybe better direction. But that would be my initial response.
That's a tough one.
It's something that we see all the time, though. A lot of small business owners start through the franchising opportunities. And one of the benefits of doing that is they have an infrastructure in place. But it's going to be difficult for you to maximize your opportunity by using their resources. Right. So it may be worth spending a couple $100 to have your own resources that you can market to just for your own peace of mind and your ability to garner result.
Yeah. I guess the point being that even with a national franchise, most business is local. So you have to hit your local folks somehow.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the only people that are going to walk in the door. So you got to make
right.
sure you're targeting and working with them directly.
Yeah. Well, it looks like that's about all the questions we have. Neemo, this has been awesome. I can't thank you enough for doing this for you. I know how busy you guys are, and taking an hour out of your day, I can't thank you enough.
Dave, I appreciate the opportunity.
Hopefully you'll come back and do it again. I know we'll get a lot of requests for that.
I will anytime. Thanks, guys.
Great. Well, thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Make sure that you reach out to Neemo. He's a great resource. I can't say enough good things about him. So we'll see you next week. Have a good Wednesday, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. At the Kentucky SBDC, we know small businesses are the heart of our economy. That's why our goal is to help business owners start, grow, and succeed in Kentucky. Find out more about how our no-cost business coaching, training, and resources can help your business. Visit us at KentuckySBDC.com.